Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to you. Thank you so much for tuning in to this morning's episode of Project Joy Live. It's your triple shot of good vibes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the 9 a.m. Eastern Time hour. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I'm very excited to be with you as always today. It's a special episode today as we are going to honor a dear friend of mine who passed from this world 3 years ago today. And she was also a Breakthrough Show Network alum. She was on Project Joy. She was on the Breakthrough Show. And I did a lot of work behind the scenes to help her. With compiling the video versions of her poem that had gone viral, which is the For Love poem. And she started a practice a few years ago that we still continue to this day. We have so much to talk about around Dorothy, and I hope you'll stick around for us to share these moments about her and her life and the impact that she's left on all of us, whether you knew her or not. So many people are coming to still learn about her and her work and her poetry and just the impact that she had on the world. So I'm excited to talk about that. I do have a special guest here today as well behind the scenes. So we'll be inviting her in a few moments. She's also an alum of the Breakthrough Show. And so really excited to have Daria Nashat back on the show here. So I also have some other joy to share today, which I'm very excited about. You guys may have seen a couple Fridays ago that Nicola Vasquez, who has been on the show before, came back onto the Breakthrough Show to share about new music that would be coming out. And I'm real like I really am upset with myself that I did not bring tissues to my desk right now, because I'm feeling it really hard at the moment. But Nicola released a brand new song today, and she was sharing about it when she was on the show 2 Fridays ago, talking about, or last Friday, excuse me. Talking about her song, and it's called For a While. And the last line of the chorus says, I'm gonna love you for a while. And it speaks to the temporary nature of everything in life and the choices that we get to make to love, even if it's just for a little while. And so the fact that that's coming out today, was released today, is very speaks to me in a big way. And I shared that with her via text this morning in the early morning hours as I congratulated her on her release. As you may have heard, or if you didn't, For a While is a song that is going to be part of an upcoming rock musical that Nicola is helping with called Esperanza. And it's the based on the story of this woman who was a lighthouse keeper, years and years and years and years and years, like long time ago. And I believe her name was Ida, if I remember correctly from what Nicola and I were talking about. And she was a little tiny woman, and there weren't, lighthouse keepers in that time it was very rare to find a woman. And she would take her little boat out, and she would help people in the midst of stormy weather and all of these things. And she was what I am coming to learn, a heroine really of her time. And so they're writing this musical Esperanza based on her life, and it includes all music from Nicola Vasquez, and this song For a While is being included in that rock musical. So I cannot wait. I was telling her when she was on the show, the music moves me. You can listen to the song Lighthouse, which is also one of the main songs of the musical. And it's just the lyrics are so moving, and Nicola always has a way of sort of capturing this nostalgic yet timeless melody and background music to the songs that she writes, and she takes me somewhere every time. And so as we go to break and leaning into welcoming Daria back onto the show, I want to give you a little taste of For a While that came out, was released in the early morning hours today. And we'll be back in just a moment right after this. It's been a long uphill climb, and all of you on top with a smile.
Discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com. Welcome back to Project Joy Live, and welcome back to the show, Daria. It's so good to have you here with us this morning.
It's good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I know that Dorothy was a big part of both of our lives, but I continue to be just lean in a little bit to your relationship with her because you had the opportunity to spend time with her in person, which is something that I was not blessed to be able to do before she passed. Do you want to just take a minute and share with everyone how you came to know Dorothy in your life?
Sure. So a mutual friend, I met Dorothy at a meeting at the house of a mutual friend. And we started immediately, I think, having a conversation about, I was inspired. She mentioned she's a poet, and I was drawn to her, and we started talking. And I recall the first time we met afterwards was actually walking in a large park in the center of Brussels. And just the beauty of nature, another source, I think, of inspiration for both of us. Huge old trees, and just talking about reflecting on life. And at the time, I hadn't really discovered the whole story of who she was and the whole story about the poem. And it was just more connecting as as new friends.
Yeah.
That's how we first connected. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I think I love the visual of that too, with the being in a park and sort of I always sort of imagined that if I had the chance to be with Dorothy in person, we would like be walking through nature somewhere to have these deep discussions that I think she was sort of known for allowing the space for us to kind of go down the rabbit hole about things that we
Yes.
were exploring or feeling or thinking.
Yeah.
And so I love that visual. I think Dorothy and I met through a mutual friend and online, and I was immediately inspired by her poem, and not just her poem, but her sort of who she was
Mhm.
in the moment that is described when she wrote the love poem when her friend was killed in the terror attacks in Brussels. And I was the reason that spoke so much to me is because the Breakthrough Show Network was created on um sort of as an after piece to when my brother passed away, and sort of using that grief and not knowing what else to do with it other than to create from
Mm.
it. And so it spoke to me in that same exact way, and I said immediately, I was like, Dorothy, what can I do to help? I mean, we'll put you on the show, I'll tell everybody about it, what can I do? And that's when um, I told her about this vision that I had. I said, I've heard these different, they're in all these languages, but I sort of see this video in my head of all the versions being said together in their different native languages and all of that. And she goes, actually, this is something that I've envisioned in my own mind. And I said, well, I would love to help you compile those video recordings. And so that's when my work began with her to do that behind the scenes and help kind of put them together in different mashups and things like that in the video. And I was going back earlier, I was sharing with you to some of our earlier conversation that we had privately on WhatsApp, and talking about some of the versions, and just the immense peace that I feel like she was residing in, seeing it all come together in
Mm.
that way.
Mm.
Had she ever expressed to you personally, any thoughts that she had, or wishes that she had, or anything like that regarding the poem and its legacy? Or was she, because she was sort of in the moment, much more in the moment than than I usually am for me.
Yeah.
But did she ever
Yeah.
express anything to you in that way?
I first of all want to celebrate you and thank you
Mm,
for this vision of hers, actually, or the joint vision, turn that
yeah.
into reality, because I know how much work and dedication it took. And I really, truly, I'm so thankful, because this is keeping her legacy alive.
Mm,
This is exactly what I think her mission was on this planet, and
yeah.
to bring that love, and you know what the poem did is also breaking cycles of violence. And you gave this a platform, and you anchored it and created this space where we can showcase the different
Mm,
languages and the impact and the global reach of
yeah.
this amazing message, the poem and the message. So thank you for that from the bottom of my heart. Um, I'm not sure. I think there was a few conversations and reflections he had about the future of the poem, and especially in the context of when we started and decided together to read the poem every day at one
Hmm.
o'clock after um, the war in Ukraine, the invasion of Russia into Ukraine started. And it was really getting it out there. I think that was her biggest concern, probably, or her biggest wish, to have this poem, the message of the poem in the world and to reach people. And I'm thinking of a ripple effect.
Mm.
You know, you were just talking about the water, and in our conversation prior to coming on air, and she had this big vision, and I think she knew she would touch so many hearts. And this poem is part of what's still here. Her energy is here, her vision is here. This the energy of love. I think that's what she brought.
Yeah. I can relate to that too, of feeling something so strongly in my heart that I just want people to hear it. I just want people to
Mm.
feel it the way that I feel it. And I think she was able to do that so beautifully through her poem and through her words, but also through her action and how she started that daily reading, and
Mhm.
um and she showed up nearly every day, and it was a priority for her.
Yeah.
And whether things had gotten worse per se around the world in the day, or maybe there was a quiet moment, it was still like, no, we continue, and we can.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you can still hear me. I think I have some connection issues here.
Sorry,
Can you still
my
hear me?
internet. I can
Ah,
hear you now. Sorry, my internet is
okay. No,
being
I was
not
not
fun
sure. It
right
could
now.
be on my side.
No, it was me. I don't know what is happening right now. Anyway, but
Well, we live in turbulent times.
yeah.
These
Yeah,
things happen.
the
Uh,
the internet
Perhaps
is
it
no.
was Dorothy saying hi.
Yeah, perhaps it was that. And I've had a couple of those moments this morning. One, when how you have the uh screensavers come up on the computer when you start the computer in the
Mm,
morning, and it just happened to be a photo from Brussels this morning that was randomly up there. So that was my first little
mm,
hello Dorothy this morning. And then the other one, as I was sharing, I've been talking a lot about on this show about being in a space in my life where things are shifting quite a bit for me personally, and behind the scenes, and then that sort of ripples out. But one of the things has been sort of uh, listening for confirmation on the decisions that I make, the big decisions. And I went back to our private message, and she said to me, so you have to wait before you can make a big decision. Wait for clarity, like troubled water becoming clear as it rests. She didn't even have to write a poem to say words that
mm.
resonated so deeply with us. But I was like, oh my goodness, this is exactly the confirmation. I sort of waited for
Yeah,
that to come back around, and the confirmation that I needed in the moment, um on things that I've been sitting on to hear that clarity. And it's been happening just as she said it would. The
yeah,
water would clear and I would see clearly. And so I think about that a lot today, as we
yeah.
celebrate her.
It's amazing. So beautiful.
Yeah. So things obviously have not, from a world view, I feel like have not sort of calmed down since Dorothy's passing, and that's why I feel her so strongly every day as we go through the things that we're going through as a people in this world. Um, I put the question on the thumbnail for this episode: Is love enough? And I think there's a lot of people that there's so many songs, first of all, that have been written about that topic over the years, and people coming right out and saying that. I remember a lyric in my head right now: sometimes love just ain't enough. But I would love to hear your perspective of that. That question: is love enough? And my questions are: enough for what? And if not, then what would make it enough?
Thank you. I'll go with Dorothy. I believe love is enough, but not the small love
Mm.
that I think culturally we've turned it into. I think love is life force. It's loving power. It's abundance. It's our essence. It's our essence of being human is love, but it has a force. It's a life force. And I think in our conversations, in our culture, we've we're really making love into something that is for the movies and perhaps the romantic books. And it's not that I'm not all for romantic love, but I think it's only part of the story. It's the love of the world. It's the life energy. It's a life force, and it's abundant. It doesn't fit into our small concepts.
Mm.
So I do think love is enough, and it's the only thing that actually matters. In the end, that's the only thing. It's the essence. And I do believe that if we could connect to the energy of love, which is our life source, and shift from an energy of being against, fighting, fixing. We all know, we all feel, we live in a world that is in turmoil, that is in disruption, the violence around us. The systems are breaking down because they're not serving us anymore. We need change. We live in this time. But somehow we're often so stuck in this, fixing and fighting, and it's a different energy. And it's very draining. It's very draining. And I also believe it's not effective.
Mm.
Because it doesn't allow us to let the energy flow. And so I think anything we do, if we look at nature, there is flow, there is abundance. That's the energy of love. There is no limit to it. It's not a win-lose. I mean, the concepts that we're using to look at problems in this world is like, if I do this, who's going to lose? Am I going to lose? Who's going to win? It's very limiting concepts. I don't think they serve us. I don't think that's who we are as human beings. Shifting into the energy of love, we can do with ease. Then there's grace. And I think everything will be very easy.
Yeah, there's also, I think, an underlying there's a fear that people have now that hasn't always been there, at least not in this way. And sometimes, there's a lack because of that fear, those fears, there's a lack of willingness to be open to listen, to be open to new ideas. We get sucked into this is how we've always done it. And so we're going to continue to do that. And obviously it's not going to go anywhere because we've done it this whole time that way. Um, and there's fears of not knowing how it's going to turn out if we try something different, if we lean into the love. There's fears of being I think where I've talked about this on the show before, where love is concerned, being perceived as a weakness, because we don't want to stand up and fight, and I think we need to separate that phrase, because stand up and fight are two very different things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so much for me, a lot of my work lately has been around, my personal work has been around what are the filters or the principles or things that I need to allow everything that everything, every person that comes in contact with me to run through. And one of those things for me is love. And if it can't filter through that, then I can't allow it to be part of my world in the moment that I'm in. And so it's it's a I agree with you that love is so much deeper and layered than I think the perception that we have as humans now. It's this just silly little thing, and people are so quick to say, um, to not to say, but to refer to it as, like you said, a love thing, like a relationship, like a spouse or a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever. But I have always shared that, and I remember expressing this to Dorothy, and I remember her saying that she felt similarly, that I love so hard and in a way that I can't describe it. And that love, because things are filtered through me, through love also is not just a thing we say or feel, it's an action. It's all the things, encompassed in who are we being. And I remember Dorothy saying she felt that as well. And she also found it difficult to describe to people who are so quick to say, well, they don't deserve love, or I only love certain people, or I have sort of more boundaries up for love, I think, than Dorothy and I express to each other.
Yeah. It's really interesting you mentioned the fear, because to me, love is freedom. It's freedom from fear. And we live in times that are so fear-driven. And, so many decisions. And, I want to invite everyone actually to think the last decision you took, or this morning or yesterday, was it driven by the energy of love or by fear and the feeling of inadequacy or not being enough? What a difference it can make. Do we want to be driven by fear? I think sometimes we forget that it's choice. I choose love. I choose to be grounded in compassion, self-compassion, compassion. It's an energy source. It's like a source. If we think of water again, it's a fountain. There's flow. It generates, it nourishes me, and then it nourishes everyone else. It's again the ripple effects of it. Fear separates us. It brings out the worst in us. It disconnects us from our shared humanity. I believe it really is not serving us, and it's making us small and afraid and lonely. And we're born for connection. So anything that takes away from connection is not how we're meant to be.
That connection, I remember being really important to Dorothy, and it was almost humorous to me after she passed away, and there were so many people that came out to support Dorothy and to share well wishes to the family and all of these things when she passed away. And there were so many like little communities that she was a part of that none of us had any idea of the other, and it was it made me laugh because I was like, it was almost like she had all these little mini ecosystems of, that just she touched. She had her hands in a lot of things. And
it was almost like she knew everyone, or everyone knew
yeah,
Dorothy, let's put it
yeah,
that way. You know, it was quite amazing, all these global communities. And we still have,
yeah,
you know, kind of a WhatsApp group, and it's she's still alive,
yeah,
you know, she's
yeah.
still here, and much needed in these
Mm,
times. Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Mm.
Um, with all of this stuff that we're kind of going through in the world, I have no doubt that if Dorothy were still here, she would still be joining us for the poem every day. And I think about often in a very similar way. And I had a chance to share this with Dorothy before she passed. And this is one thing that I'm really grateful for. Dorothy had a very similar energy to me that my grandmother had.
Mm.
Just a, a a wisdom, um, a soul older than her body certainly was, and a peace about her. And I remember I've shared that, and I shared this to her that when my grandmother was alive, if people were going through something in their life, they would always like call Marge to pray for them. Like they could,
Mm.
because they just
Mm.
thought she had the direct line to God and they could just go through her because that's just how
Yeah,
that's how they
that's
were.
really
And
cool.
I
Yeah.
remember feeling that very similarly with Dorothy. Like if I was going through something that was really challenging, like she always brought me back. Like
Mm.
okay, let's breathe. Let's think about this. Let's process it in whatever way you need to. And how can we, without saying it, filter it through that lens of love? And so I'm thankful that I got to share with her that before she passed away. But what do you feel like? Do you feel like she would, is there any advice or words of wisdom or anything that she gave you through the years that maybe would be similar to what she would give right now?
That's a good question. She had, as you say, you know, she had this energy, or even an
Mm,
aura,
yeah.
you know, and you were not here in person, but you can feel it. You could feel
Mm,
it online, you know. She just had this. To me, that's being grounded in love, standing for love, but also being grounded in love. And I think she really expressed that. And that I think is um, the message that she lived, actually.
mm,
She didn't have to talk to so much, you know. Of course, we had these deep conversations and talking about it, but it's the living, it's the being.
yeah.
We need to live our and practice our values. And then, you know, if I observe from the outside, just by her being herself, it was clear she was grounded in love.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is extraordinary. I think there's not so many people on this planet who have that clarity in the being,
Mm,
who they want to be and who they
right.
want to, you know, be known for.
Yeah.
She was a really great mentor in that way. And and even beyond a mentor, I think she did have a connection to something greater, you know, to universe, or a spiritual source.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually going to say this is something similar, that I don't think she necessarily would have said anything at all. It's she
Mm.
would have encouraged people to love and and she just showed that. She exemplified that in how she interacted with us
Mm.
day to day, in the things that she did in her life, the actions that she took. And I feel like that's something that we all have the power to lean into being love,
Mm.
not just feeling it, looking for it, creating it, being. Very similar to being joy that we talk about here on Project Joy in the mornings. It's within us to be it. we just have to tap into it, and it's a choice to live that way, to live as that, love being a core principle of who you are as a human being. And that projects differently than just saying, I love all the things or all the people or whatever, you know?
I think she would have said, just do it, just be it.
Yeah.
I think that very simple. And it's not always easy. It's not always easy. But I think, I think that she would have said, stay the course. Just, it's our life journey. I think that's what we're here for, to do, to be love, to stand in love, to stand for love, and to practice.
Be love. Absolutely.
Be love.
Well, my friend, I'm so thankful that you were able to join me for this segment of the show, because it was important to me to have someone else here that that knew Dorothy, and you knew her in person. I did not, but we both had. I think another thing I realized in her passing is everybody just had this sort of super special relationship with Dorothy in their own way, and she had a way of touching everybody's lives. Yes, in these little ecosystems or communities that she created, but individually, and that made people feel special and seen and heard and valued. And what a gift that is, to feel seen and heard and valued in today's world.
She truly saw people. It's really amazing. Very
and
grateful.
I'm thankful that you've been here this morning, and thankful that you are one of all the people that I've met over the years. You're one of the few that I've gotten to meet in person, and I'm thankful for
really
that.
Nice.
And I remember Dorothy's joy too when we got to meet in person, and that was lovely. So remembering that today.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you, Jessica. And I'm also so thankful for Dorothy and for our connection.
Thank you, Daria. And we're going to be right back after this short break of listening to Dorothy Oger herself read the For Love poem. We'll be right back after this.
I shall stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart. I shall stand for love, for the world is wounded, not just my little piece of land, where I am mostly safe, where I am mostly well, but our world, everywhere, every day. I shall stand for love, because we need more light, not more death, not more power, not more bombs. I shall stand for love, so that our children are safe, so that our friends are sheltered, so that our borders are open. I shall stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart.
Welcome back to Project Joy Live. Thank you, Daria, for joining us today on this special episode in memory of Dorothy Oger, and honoring her life and legacy, and honoring the power of love. I think it's so important, as we talked about, to consider. I don't want to say to feel like we have to, but to consider what it would be like to live love, to be love, to process every connection we make, every committee we join, every space we fill, every stage we stand on, every choice we make, to filter that through a filter or lens of love. Imagine what that would look like today. I think the world can only be a better place if we were to choose to do that, each of us individually. And it would take us doing that, each of us individually, and allowing that to flow into our homes and into the lives that we touch, and we can watch it be that ripple effect that we talked about in the world. We do continue to meet every single day from at 1 p.m. Brussels time. And I say 1 p.m. Brussels time because it is usually 7 a.m. Eastern time here in the U.S., but sometimes it's 6. We're coming up actually next week where we will have 1 week time where it's 6 a.m. because they change times before we change times. But we are there in a room that I dedicated to Dorothy Oger within our virtual community. You can go to the breakthroughshownetwork.club to see the schedule, see when, to double check that time just to make sure, but and get the link to join us every single day. We set an intention, read the poem to get together in our native languages, and then we have a moment of silence and go about our day. It takes less than 10 minutes usually of our time to hold that space together, and that's just a continuation, same time that Dorothy would do it when she was here. And so I invite anybody to join us, whether you knew Dorothy or not, to share that space of love with us every single day inside the Breakthrough Show Network virtual community, and in honor of Dorothy. Before we go today, everybody, we do have some fun things. And one of those fun things is that we have to celebrate birthdays. So let's do that.
Happy birthday to you.
All right, you guys, in the world of celebrity, kid president, well, he was a kid president. He's not a kid anymore. He's 22 years old today. His name's Robbie Novak. He had some viral videos back in the day, motivational type videos. Go check those out. Happy birthday, Robbie Novak. Also, singer Monica is 45 years old today. She has a song called Don't Take It Personal. And I always love that song because it starts out by saying, it's just one of those days. And don't take it personal, like this too shall pass. I just remember that when I was a teenager. And so happy birthday, Monica. Actor BD Wong is 65 years old today. Just a couple days ago, we were celebrating another Jurassic Park birthday. He was in Jurassic Park among, I think he was in SVU, a lot of different shows and movies. Incredible actor. So happy birthday, BD Wong. And then a celebrity in our own midst, Annie Henderson, had a birthday yesterday. She's a Breakthrough alum and a friend of mine, and I want to wish her an amazing birthday as well. So without further ado, let's get our birthday song on. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Robbie, Monica, BD, and Annie. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to all those that are celebrating today that we mentioned, that we didn't. If you have one over the weekend, happy birthday to you as well. And I hope you have an amazing time celebrating whatever you do. Celebrate your time here on this planet. It's a miracle that you were born, truly. I mean, think about that. It was truly a miracle that you were born at the time you were on this planet with the people you were. I mean, think about all that had to be aligned in the universe for that to happen. And that's love in itself, I think. I also want to mention that we do have virtual co-working coming up here, checking in about 15 minutes or so. You can go to the breakthroughshownetwork.club and see all of our community schedule. I also want to congratulate again Nicola Vasquez on the release of her song For a While. We are so excited for you, so proud of you, and can't wait to hear even more songs from the upcoming rock musical Esperanza, which is very exciting. So what else do I have to leave you with today? You've probably been seeing them as I've been talking with my hands the way I do here on the show. But I had shared about a bracelet that Stacy Brayuka had given me from a company called Zox. And these bracelets are all, they have positive words on them. They have things that help to uplift us. And I had gotten, I'd ordered some, and a lot of them, not all of them, have, you can see where the company name is. You can take your phone and you can tap them. And I have too many things open on my phone. But you can tap the bracelet. And when you tap the bracelet, like I said, too many things popping up. There we go. It'll pop up on your phone and it'll give you an affirmation of the day. And so the one that just popped up here, I'm going to read it to you guys. It says, I am brave enough to try again. I am brave enough to try again. So I love that. And this is from the bracelet that when you turn it inside out, it says, you are enough. I'll show you all of them. This one says, you are enough. This next one that I'm wearing says, don't let the hard days win. And then this last one that I'm wearing says, finish what you started. Finish what you started. Those are some of the fun ones that I have today. And then my watch does it too. My watch band does it too. It's a little elephant. And that one says right here, right now. So just good little reminders. Check out Zox, ZOX.com for some good vibes. And I hope you enjoy them as well. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Thank you so much for being here with me today for another episode of Project Joy Live and to honor the life and legacy of Dorothy Oger. Thank you, Daria, for being here. And thank you, all of you, wherever you are in the world. I want to remind you to make joy a priority in your life today and every day, as well as love. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
I've been trying, and I've been lifting myself up, yeah, I've been climbing.